100 years ago, physicists created the science of quantum physics to better understand and explain the double slit experiment. They were ecstatic about the new breakthrough. Surprisingly, matter, materialism, and determinism did not describe the fundamental structure of reality after all. Although materialism was clearly wrong, its alternative appeared both mysterious and elusive. Most of those at the forefront of creating this new science agreed that the fundamental structure of reality had something to do with information and consciousness, but they could not produce any sort of theory that was rational. Consequently, Niels Bohr, one of the leaders of this group of physicists, called all the world's best scientists to a meeting in Copenhagen. Fortunately, they all posed at least once for this historical moment. Of course, Albert Einstein is front and center. M.A. Lorentz is to his right, and Madame Curie is to Lorentz's right. Most of the creators and facilitators of quantum mechanics were also there. Creators Bohr, Heisenberg, Planck, Schrödinger, and collaborators Pauli, Bragg, Dirac, Compton, and de Broglie. Bohr's plan was to simply describe the results of their research and to discuss the huge paradigm shift that these results implied. Here we have Eugene Wigner and John von Neumann. Wigner was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics. First is a quote from Wigner. "The laws of quantum mechanics cannot be formulated without recourse to the concept of consciousness." John von Neumann, a child prodigy, was a polymath genius who made seminal contributions to mathematics, physics, computer science, and engineering. Together, Wigner and von Neumann created the consciousness causes collapse interpretation of quantum mechanics, in which consciousness is postulated to be necessary for the completion of the process of quantum measurement. Albert Einstein, also a Nobel laureate, at first doubted the veracity of the emerging quantum physics, famously saying, "God does not play dice with the universe." But after several other experiments verified the correctness of quantum mechanics, he engaged it fully. Here are 3 quotes. "Reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. If we think of the field as being removed, there is no space which remains, since space does not have an independent existence. Hence, it is clear that the space of physics is not, in the last analysis, anything given in nature or independent of human thought. It is a function of our conceptual scheme." Next is Max Planck, another Nobel Prize winner, with 3 quotes. "All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force. We must assume, behind this force, the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. This mind is the matrix of all matter. I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as derivative from consciousness. We cannot get behind consciousness. A new scientific truth does not triumph by convincing its opponents and making them see the light, but rather because its opponents eventually die and a new generation grows up that is familiar with it." Here you see Niels Bohr, yet another Nobel laureate, with 2 quotes. "The common sense view of the world, in terms of objects that really exist out there, independently of our observations, objective reality, totally collapses in the face of the quantum factor. If quantum mechanics hasn't profoundly shocked you, you haven't understood it yet." Next is Werner Heisenberg. Yes, another Nobel Prize winner, with 2 quotes. The atoms, or elementary particles themselves, are not real. They form a world of potentialities or possibilities, rather than one of things or facts. Separation of the observer from the phenomenon to be observed is no longer possible. Finally, we end with a quote from Erwin Schrödinger. Consciousness cannot be accounted for in physical terms, for consciousness is absolutely fundamental. It cannot be accounted for in terms of anything else. You have now heard from all of the primary founders of quantum physics. It is a shame that those much less accomplished would toss out the ideas of these men simply because they were unable to understand or comprehend what these extraordinarily brilliant physicists found obvious. It is well known that exceptional brilliance usually comes with a bigger picture that is unavailable to the average man. These people represented the brightest and the best. Together, they created an immense collective intelligence that, to the present day, has never been approached, much less duplicated. They were able to correctly intuit the right answer, but did not know how to turn their intuitive knowing into logical science. The key concept they needed, the possibility of a computed reality, would not be invented for another 6 or 7 decades. The Copenhagen results and their tentative mathematical representations evolved to dominate the new science of quantum physics for the next 5 decades. Unfortunately, the mathematical formulation of quantum theory grew quickly, while fundamental understanding of what, how, and why made no progress at all. How could a probability wave collapse to become a physical particle? They knew that what was required was a new perspective, a major paradigm shift, a different point of view, something fundamental and thus simple and elegant. And with this new perspective, everything would come together in one coherent understanding. Because quantum physics and relativity were logically incompatible and limited in scope, it was clear that there was some overall more fundamental understanding from which both relativity and quantum physics could be derived. In pursuit of this goal, Albert Einstein coined the phrase theory of everything, TOE, and started working on a little toe he called unified field theory. He failed. So did everyone else who came after him.